Hi, and welcome back. What we might take a little bit of a look at, because it is important, as I said before, what the main purpose of all of this isn't to make necessarily a 3D model of the building. I mean, it's great. 3D modeling of the building is great to be able to show your client whatever. But as I said also before, is that we're not going to 3D print this building. Likely, I mean, it's the technology is getting out there, but that's not what this program's for. So the main thing is to put this thing down into paper and give somebody an idea of, what's going on. What is it they're building exactly? And you're going to need dimensions if you're on the field and you're going to be doing any of this kind of stuff correctly. We did it before on our floor plan. We can actually do that from in this case, I've got a section view opened up. We certainly could do it from an elevation view if we wanted as well. We can add in dimensions. We can go into our annotate menu here. We've got aligned, linear, angular, radial, same as it ever was before. Certainly can use that. We'll use aligned, and we'll maybe grab from the bottom of the slab, the floor, as we're coming up. I mean, these will be obvious because we have the level lines in there. This would be a silly thing to try and put in there. I mean, anybody who's looking at that should be able to see that that's where we're at. So we certainly wouldn't put in those ones, and we already have those measurements on the side. But if you're going to say, I don't know, this information's already in there too. But if you're to say wanting to measure some part of the building to some other part of the building that was in a vertical sort of manner, then you could certainly do that from here. We're looking at floor to I don't know, mostly it's going to grab main features in here for that particular one. We could do linear annotate. Shouldn't give us anything because it's going to have stuff that it wants to grab onto. That's not really its function at all. It'll go sideways. It'll grab stuff along this way, but honestly, there's not a whole lot of point to right now what I've got in here to have this, because you're going to have these the ability to have these measurements on. If we're going sideways, horizontally, that is, it's going to go vertically. We could do that, I suppose. It's going to have the ability to do that on most parts of that into the floor plan. We'll take a look at the section view again. And this is where you might have a little bit more of these types of things that might make a difference, because you certainly didn't make a note on your elevations for foundation. You've got it, slab, you've got it, but there's going to be things in here that you might want to have some annotation on, perhaps. So we go into our aligned, we pick out functions of the aligned. Let's go on a slab, higher into, there's going to be quite a bit of stuff that you could pick on there. Great and all, that might be useful information. And you could bring that all the way back out to here. Certainly could change up what you want that to be so it didn't look so huge. Different styles of the annotation as well in there if you wanted it to be. You change up the size of the measurements that have been taken. I don't know. I don't really think we're going to need any of that in this particular thing, but yeah, it is entirely possible to do something. If you had say if you're doing your drainage or something like that, and you needed to do annotations for some detail work like that, you could put that in there as well. Most of your stuff for elevations is will already be done on that. You could put in, we've got this angle here, we could probably get a good angle of the, maybe some angle of this particular roof line, that type of thing. So if a person didn't know how to read the pitch that you've had written down in there or drawn into it, maybe give them a better idea of that, I guess. But if they don't know that, they're probably not building this building. But here we are. It gives you an idea of what you can do. It might be something completely different. You could Revit can be used for so many different things. You wouldn't necessarily have to use it for a commercial building or a residential home where you would need somebody to actually, like a proper, carpenter or something like this, or a journeyman that will know all these things. You could be doing a fence. It would be a little bit of a waste of time probably for Revit to be drawing a fence, maybe because of how much the program is. But certainly you could have something simple project being developed by Revit on there as well, and then whoever it is that's going to be looking at that might not be a journeyman of any sort, and then they could maybe make use of this function. For our commercial building here, it really wouldn't make any sense to tell them what the pitch of the roof is and then tell them what degree that is between these points. But you get where I'm going with that. That's more universal than it is necessary in this particular building. You could also use this and give us our slope of that particular roof line. There's no slope here, won't give you that. It's going to tell us we're being ridiculous now. Which we kind of are already. Well, kind of are by trying to do that already. Certainly spot elevation, we've tried that before with other things. We could put that onto the top of this top corner of that. So that will be useful information, because of course every municipality that I've ever seen, they want to know how tall your building is going to be. It will be extremely important. I've seen people have to actually cut their roof lines off, and they think their house is all done, and then the inspector comes by and takes a survey of it, and they might be just a few inches out, but the city doesn't care that you're a few inches out. They really would like you just fix it. So then you're out there with saws and trying to manipulate the situation until it actually makes sense. And that's no fun, let me tell you. I've never had to do it myself, but definitely I've heard some stories. But anyways, that's why this part would be super important. You'd be able to tell them what the elevation was relative to your point. It'll give them that information. Once again, if you were wanting that for who knows what you've got in there, could be literally anything that you want to tell them, like how high up the TV is that you've mounted on the wall, and that will tell you all that, right? Like if you could click on it, you could find it in there. So that in that point, it could be very important, because we're picking up on the corner of this door. Anything that's we already know that that's an 8-foot door, but we'll say that's, imagine that an 8-foot door is 8 feet to the top of the framing, and 7'8" to the top of the actual door itself. Well, we already know that it'll be in the report that will be generated by Revit, so that certainly wouldn't be important to put on the plan, probably, but who knows, somebody might want it on there. But anyways, yeah, you see where we're going with that. We could put a lot of annotations on these elevations and certainly sections, and there's going to be a lot of call for that, for less so for what we've got drawn here, but there will be residential buildings and such there's a lot of that type of thing that you'll want section views that have different measurements that we just haven't been able to provide on here. But this pretty square, generally speaking, pretty square building. The elevations are exactly where the floors are in this, and the only thing that was really super relevant was the point at the top of the building here. That really would be the only thing that I could see them being curious about, that you would really need anything on at this point, in my opinion anyway. Yeah, so that ends that. It's pretty light, simple topic there. Just showing you that it's possible. All right, well, thanks for joining me on this video. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.